Hi guys, so in this tutorial we're going to install a piece of software called Evernote, which is used for keeping notes and staying organized. It's a free tool which you can find just by doing a Google search for Evernote, and then if you want to know more about it you can look at the website, but we're just going to skip straight to downloading and installing it and I guess learning it by experimentation. I'll take you through a few of the basics. If you want to check out the Getting Started guide, that's also an option while you're waiting for it to finish downloading. But as I say, I think generally, unless you've got a really good memory, it's better just to get an overview of the real basics and then start using it and force yourself to use it for a while until it becomes second nature. It really is a very, very widely used tool, and if you ever have any questions, I'm sure that a Google search will bring you the answer. It can be a little bit finicky sometimes. It has some little things that you should know about it, which I'll try and explain as I go. But generally speaking, it's really simple. So once it's done downloading, I just click on this, and the installer is very, very straightforward. Other than accepting Windows security and the license, there's nothing to it. You just click install and then next, and then when it's finished, it will run itself. We're pretty much done at this point with Chrome for the time being, so we can close that. And here we are. It's finished installing, and Evernote pops up. So Evernote runs on your computer. It's a piece of software that we've installed on the computer, but it will synchronize to the Evernote servers, kind of like what Google Drive does, but a little bit different, which you'll understand later on. You probably don't already have an account, so you just want to click up here on New to Evernote and get a free account. So just type in here the Gmail account that we created, and you can use the same password. I've already got one that I've been using for demonstrations, so I'm just going to go ahead and log in using that account. And this is Evernote. So I'm just going to delete this here so I can show you how I add notebooks. So as a word of explanation, Evernote just kind of works as a computerized version of old-fashioned notebooks, where you would have notebooks themselves, and then within each notebook, pages of notes. And above that, you can have stacks of notebooks. So what you see here is just what Evernote gives you by default, which is a notebook stack called Notebooks. But you can create new notebooks under that. So I'll call this one Personal, just as an example. So this is a notebook, and then in the notebook I can create notes. So I can call this House. And then here I would just put all the notes related to my house, contact information, snippets of correspondences, records, dates, and so on. It's just kind of a free form note keeping. You can also add like reminders and presentations and everything else, and checklists, but I just use it very, very free form. When you want to create a notebook stack, it can be a little bit tricky. It's not immediately obvious, but you actually can right-click on the notebooks within another stack and then add to stack and create a stack here. These concepts are probably a bit foreign at this point. Later on you'll understand what I mean when you get so many notebooks that you want to create another top level category. That's basically it for Evernote, the software as it runs on your computer, other than to say that It doesn't sync constantly like Google Drive does. You can prompt it to sync, otherwise it runs on a timer. And I believe you can change the timing of that within options. So automatically synchronize every 5 minutes. Um, the other really useful part of Evernote, one of the functions that I use extensively, possibly even more so at the early stages than the software, is a plugin for Chrome. So I'm just going to show you how to install that too. We're going to open up Chrome here and just close that. Sorry, it will try and automatically download the software again. We'll open a new tab and go to Settings, and then under Settings to Extensions, and then at the bottom to Get More Extensions. And then in here I'm going to type Evernote. I'll just type Evernote. But what we're looking for is the Evernote web clipper specifically. You don't need to worry too much about the rest of this stuff. And we are going to add that to Chrome. I guess as a side note, this Chrome web store has millions of applications that you can kind of explore and play with, but it can take up a lot of your time. So I'm going to try and show you the more useful ones and stick to those. So over here on the right, you'll see that the Evernote button has appeared, and I'm just going to click on it in order to sign in, and then sign in using the same account that we've been using all along. So this immediately now prompts me to begin using it, but just a word of warning, if you try and use it, it will not synchronize. For whatever reason, you just need to close Chrome, and then also close it down here in your taskbar. Exit. So Chrome is completely closed now. I can then reopen Chrome, and Evernote Web Clipper will now work. So just make sure you do that little step. Now I'm going to show you how, in practical terms, we would use the web clipper. Let's say I am making a website or doing research for a new business that I'm thinking of pursuing. I might be looking at today's news and see something of interest. This could be fairly interesting to someone perhaps looking at offering services or making an app for hiring car parks and seeing that someone else is already well underway. I would want to clip this to Evernote, and I would want to clip it perhaps as an article. The options here, just to go over them really briefly, article will give you the main content of a web page with all of the formatting. Simplified article will give you the main content with images, but with just the basic formatting. And this is my preferred option for saving, I guess, news articles. Full page would give you the entire page with all the banners and the side banners and stuff like that, and the advertising, which I guess would be useful if you wanted to save the website as it is. You like the look of it, or you like the layout or the template that's being used, and you want to save that in its entirety. And then bookmark will just save essentially like any other bookmark. It's got the URL, and that's the primary useful part of it, but it also will give you a little snapshot image, a title, and then a bit of a blurb. So it's a bit more functional than usual. Screenshot will let you select a portion of the screen and then take a snap of it, and it will even let you add some annotations before you save it to Evernote. So I'm not sure what you might want to put here. This is very useful if you're communicating to a web developer. If you're having a website designed by a professional, and they are kind of you want to give them some specific instructions, like move this over to the right. Then rather than typing out, trying to express yourself in text, you can just kind of do it visually by going to your website, taking a snapshot, and then annotating it like this. When I hit save, it will sync with the Evernote web server, and then when I run Evernote next time and synchronize that, it should come up in there. So I've just given it a second to synchronize, and you can see here there's confirmation that it's been clipped to Evernote. Again, Evernote, the desktop version doesn't sync constantly, so we just have to prompt it now to synchronize, at which point it should pull down the thing that I've just synchronized, and here it is. So you can even you can annotate that even further with what used to be called Sketch, but is now built into Evernote, which is basically just an extension of those tools where you have bits of text and stuff like that. So very, very simple way to add text notes to images. And there you have it. So how I might practically use this again is to draft up an email. So, hi web developer, please make the following changes. Now I can share this note with my web developer via email. I just go down here to share and then send by email. I can also copy a share URL, which will let them view it on via a web link. Aside from that, I can actually share whole notebooks. So I can share this notebook, click on share notebook, and then send anyone an email. If they already use Evernote, then they'll be able to synchronize with you, so they see new notes that you've added, and vice versa. And I guess it's up to you whether the person you're working with is willing to use Evernote or not. You can send them by email, or you can ask them to synchronize with your notebook. So this is where it really, really gets very useful for working in teams and collaborating, and kind of organizing a lot of people and a lot of work from one spot, as well as your own personal information, and doing research by clipping things from websites. It has all of the effectiveness that you'll need in the early stages of getting your business set up. So I'm hoping that you've followed along and installed this stuff. If you haven't and you've just been watching all the way through first, that's good as well. It's time to go back and just complete those very basic steps of installing Evernote and installing the Evernote plugin, and then I'll catch you in the next tutorial. Thanks.